Hey, welcome back to the channel. It is time for the 59th update, November 2025, for the general tier list. I'm really hyped and pumped up to bring this to you. I know that there was a big sale just literally yesterday and going to be going on for 2 weeks. We wanted to get this out to help you know, like, this is what we think. We've got this. Remember, we've got two different spreadsheets here. They're both linked in the description. I'll be getting out the screenshot size of both. We've got the in-game competitive here, and that's the one I'll be mainly presenting. And then we will take a look at the in-game non-PvP because that is different. It is different. Many of the characters are great in both, but if you're not interested in higher tier war or competitive battlegrounds, it's not nearly as important. Some other champions are going to really, really shine. If you see on the right hand side there, we've got all the Illuminati. Make sure you go check out their pages if you're not already familiar with it, or you probably are, their YouTube channels, and make sure to use their codes if you are already participating in sales. You know my thoughts and my feelings on that, only if it fits your budget, only if you're having a great time and you think this will enhance your fun. Under those two scenarios, you should go ahead and then make sure you use the code there of Nagase, MCoC Noob, or MCoC Encyclopedia. Thank them for sharing all their knowledge with us. Now, we've got a ton to get to because there's all those champions coming in. One, the Ravager sale, plus the new champions. I think there's probably some buff champions in there. And then, of course, we've got all the champions coming in the banquet box and the realm event. We're going to cover all of them today, okay, and where they're placed. As I said, I'm going to be presenting the in-game competitive players first, and then we'll look at the in-game non-PvP, just so you can get a sense of the differences there. And also, depending on how you're playing the game, you can take a look at which one makes most sense for you. All right, in the Mystic class, I mean, look at this. The Mystic class is just like amazing. Again, it feels good. I love Mystics. Spider-Man, Pavitr, Pavarkar, gonna obviously be a phenomenal, phenomenal champion. I don't think anyone is doubting that. It's just a matter of like, where do you want to put him in that tier? Able to handle serpents and dark phoenixes. You want the awakened ability, and it looks like for a damage reason, you're going to want that escalating ability as you can, of signature ability as you can. Going to get the marked passive up to a higher degree. Remember, serpent's got that like 125%. Allison Edits has shown us phenomenal ways of playing Pavitr where like the opponent just literally never has to throw a special. Like this is some tremendous, tremendous utility and damage going in. And then for those of you who haven't been playing the game for a couple of years, you might not realize or might not know how phenomenal Absorbing Man was, particularly in competitive modes. Has a shifting immunity, shifting damage sources, can even heal. I used to often, depends on the fight and those sorts of things and the health pool I was facing, but I would sometimes go to the SB3 and I think you get like a massive precision and like, I don't remember all his terms, but like reignites your latest form and stuff like that. He does have a lot of moving steps. He's for a lot of us, he's where we started learning like light punishes, not just necessarily only light intercepts, but like light punishes, hitting that light a couple times to move forward so you could punish a heavy or a special, something like that. Truly a phenomenal champion. And in his like ideal matchups, he just like absolutely obliterates and destroys some things. So he's exciting. Myself and the Illuminati. Now this is projections. That's why we've got the dice there, the dice emoji, but feel strongly these are both going to be champions in that tier above all. They're just going to be like broken, like crazy, really powerful, or they're just super, super meta, fitting the defenders, the attackers, nodes, those sorts of things. Then moving on to the super hot, and I always want to remind this too. And I can usually tell it's usually folks who don't really watch the video, and that's okay. I understand. I understand. But remember, if the champion's even ranked on this sheet, that means they have uses. That means they have uses. So being in the third tier on this sheet is still a great champion. That's why you're seeing Mordo, Sasquatch, Rintra. Like these are phenomenal, phenomenal champions. Uh, I have it on good authority that Jane Foster is going to shock people. I did not mean that pun, although it was a pretty good one, and that her damage is way higher than people realize. I tested her at length as a 3-star. I just wasn't able to get to it in time for it to make sense for me to put out that video. I did like her. I thought the SB3 route would be the way. I think you get like the guaranteed crits or massive precision. I don't remember exactly what it was. I do like her awakened ability. She seems like she's going to get a wither, and I think it has a nullify off it as well too to give her a little bit of utility. But she does seem like a damage focused champion. I am looking forward to when my understanding is that there is a video out there, there's a video being made of her in live in-game content, and it's going to blow everyone's mind. Until that happens, I feel good with her in that third tier. I think if you want to play with her, have a lot of fun. She's going to do things for you. There's a good champion, good buff. But I'm all ready. I am prepared and ready and wanting to be shocked, and then we will move her up if and when we see that. Now on the other side here, we have the non-competitive, right? So it's in-game, still in-game players, mainly focus on story or tough content, those sorts of things. Not really too interested in being super competitive in battlegrounds or war. You can see that just a lot of the champions shift to the higher tiers, and that makes sense, right? Because we're not nearly as concerned with, well, can they take Onslaught? Well, can they take Serpent? Well, can they take Dark Phoenix? And those sorts of things. So you're seeing champions like even like Wiccan is moving up. Kindred is still actually relatively high. Even though Kindred makes a lot of their hay on being a defensive champion, they do have a ton of immunities. The atrophy is great, and they are hard to actually die with. A really strong heal. So if you're familiar with Kindred, that probably won't be shocking to you. And that's the Mystic class for both competitive and non-competitive players. Let's go and move on to the next class. Moving on to science, and this is again the competitive players in game, right? Battlegrounds, war, that sorts of thing. We have two new champions anyway, new 7 stars. Anyways, we'll start off with both Lizard and Cassie Lang in the super hot tier. Again, remember that's a great champion. You know how much I love the Overseer, how much I love the Hulk, those sorts of things. Titania. Oh God, if they fix the SB3 thing, whatever. We're not going to spend too much time on that in this video. These are phenomenal champions, right? Scorpion's there because it's 6 star. I'm hoping Scorpion's going to be in the banquet box. So if you're seeing this after that's been announced, Scorpion will be in the tier above all. I can almost guarantee it without having fully checked it with the Illuminati. Scorpion will be in the tier above all as a 7 star. Lizard, looks like you are going to want Awakened, and the escalating seems to be really helpful for that retribution. Remember, that's what's like increasing the damage, I think, when they throw their special, right? It's a really unique play on it. I do like the champion, and I've watched quite a few videos. Grasses is my go-to right now. Grass and Noob for new champion analysis, where they're going to fit into the game. They both seem to feel pretty good about this super hot tier. Seem like might move up a little bit if when played well, can get fights done a little bit more quickly. Does have poison immunity and some like other immunities too. That was like immune to heal block if they have a buff. He seems kind of like a bit of a tricky champion with I don't think we need to necessarily put the requires high skill emoji on there, the little video game monster, but with skilled play, you're going to get much better results. It looks like you really want to keep the ruptures. I couldn't think of the name, remember the name quickly enough. You want to keep those paused or refreshed or with that with him to really up his damage. But he seems like a good champion, the kind of champion I love coming into this game where people can pick up, play him, have a lot of fun, and get things done. So I think that's pretty exciting. I'm pretty hyped about Lizard, one of my most wanted pulls from the next Titan Crystal. Now we move on to Cassie Lang. You have to go way back in my channel. I absolutely loved Cassie. Absolutely loved her. I don't remember if I was in 4 Loki or SSX at the time, but I was sent to like hazard shift fights with her. And in just playing her, there was this moment I recall where I was like, I'm getting the debuffs on me, but I am not taking damage. And she is just so outrageously tanky, especially if it's spec into inequity. And I remember showing that to my alliance mates. And I'm not going to claim that like I discovered how good she was. I think people had realized that she was good, but I definitely was one of the first ones in saying like, oh my god, she is so outrageously tanky as far as like how much damage you're taking back. And then of course, she flew on to great heights. Now, all that said, you're probably thinking like, well, why isn't she in the tier above all, or at least in scorching tier? And the reason is what happened was the AI continued to evolve, right? We've heard so much about that. That's part of why I'm waiting for if I was ever to resume spending is to hear more about the AI, because it feels like it continues to get worse in a lot of ways. And Cassie's usage started plummeting in battlegrounds and in war because the defenders were not tacking into her. And when she was going down to shrink, and if they didn't tack in, she was basically stunning herself, which completely hurts her play style and makes her one you don't want to use in those super competitive modes where the loss of health, or of course, all of your health, is incredibly detrimental. She's a champion where if they get the AI fixed, she may become I could see her. I don't know if it would tier above all. The game has evolved since she was in 2, but I feel confident she would be a scorching level champion. Incredibly tanky, good damage capabilities, tons of immunities. I was a massive, massive fan of Cassie Lang. And then the non-PvP tier list for science, you can see just again, it's going to be very similar with all of the classes. More champions move up. There's less demand to be able to take a specific counter or champion or something like that on it. The one I actually like to mention here is it stands out to me as Sentry. I actually really enjoy playing Sentry. I've been using Sentry in 9.3, and I'm excited to potentially use Sentry in the Coliseum mode if he's able to ramp up quickly enough. I made a joke about Sentry in the ramp, so that's why I started kind of laughing. I made that joke when he came out last year, but he is a good champion. He just hasn't had a lot of places where he could be used. I think if you remove those battlegrounds and then, of course, the higher tier wars, you start to see a really, really great champion just without not a lot of places to use him. All right, moving on to skill class, we got two champions to talk about. Coming with the banquet, Kingpin immediately moves up. We even had a discussion on my Discord server. We had a pretty good discussion in Illuminati too of like, is he now the best? And essentially, it was like, does it matter, right? This tier, they're all phenomenal. I think there was a bit of a conversation between Okoye, Kingpin, Crossbones, and in some regard, Lumitrix. Lumitrix was a little bit more meta relevant than the others as far as like if the meta were to change, it seems like it might hit Lumitrix more, but time will tell. We don't know. That's just kind of guessing with what it seems like Kabam's doing. Kingpin is amazing. I want Kingpin. I'm gonna do some Rena if I can. I don't know. I would love to get enough units to get Kingpin. If I can't, I can't. That is what it is. But he part of what makes him so incredible is his ease of play. He just shrugs the debuffs for you. If he doesn't shrug them because he's got a chance to do it, he eventually will shrug them when he gets to, I believe it is 8, and then do the overpower, get significant attack increase, get a combat power rate going. He's got the degen, ability accuracy reduction off the SB1, goes unstoppable off the SB2. If it's not clear, I absolutely love this champion. And in addition, has synergies with incredibly powerful champions that I enjoy playing too, like the Hood. I he I don't know. I can't wait to see him in the game. Like I said, I hope I can get him, but if I can't, I can't. And I want to see how he works. I feel confident he's tier above all. It's going to be like he's easier to play than Crossbones. Crossbones has a higher ability accuracy reduction, but is much more difficult to play. It's just going to be, what do you want? What do you need? And then moving on to the other one in Valkyrie, this is going to be interesting because she came in and it felt like really established herself in the Battlegrounds and War meta as a 6-star. And then it felt like we transitioned to 7 stars relatively quickly to the point where by the time I pulled Valkyrie and started thinking about investing and learn how to use her and investing resources into her, 7 stars were already kind of starting to take over. So I never got too much into her and how to play her. She is relatively smooth with the things that we love about her. She's got the grit. Like she was kind of the first one with grit. It wasn't called grit at the time yet. If you don't know what grit is, it's the one that basically, if the defender, the opponent has unstoppable, they act as if they were not. She can hit into them. It doesn't matter. And then, of course, she can get to her specials, do tremendous damage, virtually only hitting into the block, allowing her to bypass a tremendous amount of threat from nodes and defenders and fights. Now let's quickly take a look at the in-game non-PvP skill champions. And the only thing I'd just like to point out is that Chilith has now moved up. Chilith she's actually phenomenal in war. And in Battlegrounds, I actually like her. I run my rank 4 a lot. She's a decent defender. A lot of people do know how to handle her, and that's fine. And there's plenty of mutant options that can handle her now, too. But in the right metas or in the right fights, she's actually pretty quick. And I've shown that to you on my channel. But if we remove that sort of thing, she just shoots right up to being one of the best skill champions in the game. You're focusing on content, story content, that sort of thing. So I always love that because I love to shout out my girl Chi. She's amazing. She's amazing. Moving on to Mutant, starting off an in-game competitive PvP players tier list. You see the big three, and I think we all feel pretty good about those. Just being like, are they broken? Are they just super meta? Are they OP? Doesn't matter. They're phenomenal. I love them. They're great. In fact, I'm saying I gotta update the link for Jean Grey. I love her, the real mean Jean. She's potentially my favorite of actually all those mutants, but the one we're going to talk about today is Cassandra Nova. I appreciate it. Like you guys know, right? I often read the comments. I enjoy reading them, seeing what y'all are thinking. I think a lot of the Illuminati do too. It's really nice. And last month, I just made a mistake. That's on me, right? I present the tier list. I present the spreadsheet. The Illuminati reads it, and sometimes stuff's just going to get through. There's so many champions, so I apologize. You all, many of you were, and you did it politely. And I appreciate that. We're like, hey, I think you're wrong about Cassandra. Something's wrong here. And I was like, yeah, I just messed up. Like she shouldn't have been there. She's obviously a fantastic champion, right? You can see how highly I think of her because she's right there with Havoc, who we just saw be a complete menace in the Battle Realm Brawl, and Captain Britain, who's one of the defenders that so many people are like, this is not fun anymore because they're so difficult. Not from skill standpoint, just like the value that Captain Britain brings to defensive battlegrounds is like there's like 3 champions who can take her smoothly, right? Those non-critting tech champions or something like that. So Cassandra Nova was great. She's got that passive stun, really nice damage. You want her awakened, higher sig to help out that damage. I think she's one of those champions where there's some of you who've probably been playing her a lot. Her like, dude, she should be in the scorching tier. And I've tried to talk about this stuff less and less, but in this one I'm going to because I think it's a positive thing. The designer of Cassandra Nova pretty much is like this is like his calling card. Well, he designed Lumitrix as well. Champions come out. Some people start to get it right away. They're I don't want to call them complex, but there's a lot of moving parts. Some people get it right away and are like, dude, this champion's so good. And a lot of the rest of us are like, they're okay. They're pretty good. I like it. I'm not totally sure I'm supposed to use them. And then over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, we really track it, we get it, and they just completely move up the tier list. I really like champions like that. I'm glad they exist in this game. I think it's cool. It allows a lot for player discovery and things like that. I'm not always great with them. Like I'm not a phenomenal Luminatrix player. I'm not currently a phenomenal Cassandra Nova player. I really only have her on my free to play Vega Prime account, but I am excited to play her whenever I can. And she's obviously great for the skill class. Grass has shown her. He did the full Battlegrounds showcase, just showing off like what she does, even to champions like Nick Fury and things like that. So she's phenomenal. And I appreciate you all calling that out because that wasn't just opinion, that was just flat out an error and a mistake. And then moving on to the mutant tier list for non-competitive PvP, and you see she just moves right up into that second tier, like so many of these other champions. Moving on to tech and starting off in the competitive PvP tier list, two new champions to talk about today are going to be Nimrod and Yondu. Now, if you're familiar with our channel, you know I'm a big fan of Yondu. I put that video out on Thursday, actually, of this week, testing him. He is incredibly tanky. And, I think there was a time in the game where that was like, oh, that's cool, but what does that matter? I think more and more it's really great. And especially with the quests they've been putting out, this kind of like those story quests, the health pools have grown a lot too, actually. But your Eternity of Pain style content, what looks like Coliseum might be, and those sorts of things. A champion where if you make a mistake, the fight isn't over. Is a really, really big deal. Additionally, Yondu ramps up over the course of the fight, and as I showed in the video, it's actually pretty quick. Now, he's not a nuke. I'm not going to tell you he's Red Guardian. He's not. But this isn't a slow champion either. And once the fight gets going and you're ramping those special twos, you're getting your Fury passives, and then those are not only helping your special, but they're modifying the rupture damage that you're doing as well. Plus the stifle and the heal block off the SP1, and then the the combat power rate reduction. He's a fantastic champion. Allison Edit showed him just purely hitting into block, playing him like Valkyrie, Masacre, or champions like that, or a way of playing Werewolf by Night as well. I really am a big fan. If I were participating in the Ravager sale, I would definitely be going for Yondu. Super Skull's good, don't get me wrong, but I think Yondu is and he's very unique in his class. Well, I'm a massive, massive fan. You're going to want him Waken. You're going to want that high sig because it's going to get him those weaknesses, which help make him more tanky. But I absolutely love Yondu. Moving on to Nimrod. Now, Nimrod was one of the first champions that, as a YouTuber, I was like, "Hey guys, this guy is incredible and amazing," and started hyping him. And that always feels good when you realize the champ's great and people haven't really latched on right to it yet. I was calling him the tech Human Torch basically because he was just destroying all mutants anywhere there was healing, anywhere there was prowess. And at that time, they were putting those on nodes quite a bit as well. And I think he just was better than they wanted or they realized. Not too long afterwards, mutants started coming out with like you can shock them, right? Or if you remove their prowess and you applied a shock, you were just dead, and all these various things to basically not nerf to indirectly nerf Nimrod. That being said, I've played him a ton. He was incredibly helpful to me on my free to play Vega Prime account. Yes, he's not gonna be able to take Onslaught. He's not gonna be able to take Betsy Braddock, right? The Captain Britain. However, there's a ton of champions he will be able to take. This is still a robot, dual immune. I believe he has the nice heal as well too. Goes unstoppable. He has the power drain. Like this is a phenomenal, phenomenal champion. Going to be doing massive, massive damage. Again, you're going to want him awakened. You're going to want him at relatively high sig. I don't even know if you don't have to have him at high sig, but you're going to notice a damage difference at high sig. I think he's going to fit in very well in today's game. I don't think we're going to see him move to the tier above all. This is going to be a relatively decent dual threat in battlegrounds and going to be a phenomenal, phenomenal quester. Real quick peek at the tech tier list for non PvP. And as I was just saying about how he's going to be a phenomenal quester, you see how high Nimrod jumps in the ratings. And Yondu, I think, has room to move up too. It's just tech is such a great class that a lot of these champions here, it's just kind of like you decide which one do you want, what's the quest asking for, what's the defender asking for. Quest tech in general is going to have an answer for you, and all of those champions are able to handle a tremendous amount of the challenges that Kavan throws at us. Now to the final class of Cosmic in the competitive PvP tier list. We're going to go straight to the third tier because that's where the two champions are. And I know some of you are like, dude, I thought you loved Venom. That I do love Venom the Duck. I do. And I will tell you right now that I think if as we progress through the Venom the Duck event and we get the 6 stones for the relic, I think there's a chance he is good at competitive modes. Right now, I think he's more towards story content. I have mine 7-star rank 2. He's doing tremendous damage. Tremendous damage. Fast, early, but it's not BG style, right? And then BGs and war is often about like the big defenders and what's been put out, and so it's more tuned towards the meta. That's why this competitive in-game tier list is more fluid, right? It's going to have more. It's going to be more influenced by if Kabam puts out another 5/5 defender or like a 7/5, like they sometimes like to do, right? And Venom the Duck does not seem like he's going to be great for those, but he's a phenomenal champion. Okay, and I want to keep my eye on it as we get 6 stones for this relic and people start ranking them up. The other champion we'll talk about is Super Scroll. I covered him when his buff went live. I think he's very good. I think a lot of his value is going to come from the defensive side. I think if you already enjoyed playing Super Scroll, you're going to like him more. He got better. He got easier to use. His damage scores and times were actually not bad. I do keep track of all of those so I can have something to relate them to and know. He was very fun to play. He's a good champion. They're just offensively in the Cosmic class. There's quite a few that I would want. Okay, I would prefer. I think are better, more usable. The reason why he's here, if it wasn't for this, he'd probably be more in the hot tier. Okay, but he is, I think, going to be a decent defender. The way they transferred his falter mechanic, I think it's now like a passive. They changed it. It's going to be something you're going to need to be aware of and fight through and work through. I think you're probably going to see some fights that he does very, very well. And yeah, I think he's a fine champion. He has some defensive value, which is why in competitive modes he's a little higher up. Like I said, if you were here to figure out which one you should pick, because the Ravage sale, definitely Yondu, in my opinion. Okay. And then as we look at the non PvP tier list in the Cosmic class, Super Skull is one of those champions that like he didn't really move, even though a bunch of champions moved. And again, as I said, a lot of that is because his value in the competitive formats are going to be due to his defensive value. He's still a good champion. Okay, I want to be clear. I'm not putting him down. If you really like him, I think you're gonna have a good time with him. He does have some uses. And then you see a champion like Venom the Duck just totally skyrocket up. And again, honestly, Venom the Duck is one of those champions where he's so good, he's so fun that there's times where you want to put him significantly higher. And I called this out. He very well may end up higher in 2 or 3 months. I'm a big fan of what they did with Venom the Duck. That is the tier list. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, let us know what we think got right. Let us know what we think got wrong. I'll be getting the screenshot sizes up with Misty K. It'll be on my Twitter or on my Blue Sky. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take care.